Hi guys, I'm Heath Manning of Manning Cues. This video I'm going to be discussing two-rail kick shots. There's many times in a game where you will need to play two-rail kick shots to get out of a safety. This video is going to be on how to get out of those safeties and where to hit on the end rail and how the end rail works in conjunction with the side rail. As you can see on the table right now, we've got, from this pocket here, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The 1's in the corner pocket, the 3's on the first diamond, the 5's on the middle diamond, and the 7 is on the third diamond, counting this way. Now, from this corner, this is our object ball we're going to be trying to sink in this video. As you count up from the object ball, this is the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 8. The reason I've got 1 through 8 on the end rail and 1 through 8, the length of the table, on the side rail, is because they actually match each other. And I'm going to show you how they match each other in the video. I'm going to take a cue ball, and for the first shot, we'll just set her out here on the table. When you use this in a game, you're going to have to measure the distance between the object ball and the cue ball starting point. Let's do the first one now. Here's our object ball in the corner pocket. We are going to be counting up the number of diamonds to the cue ball. So from the object ball, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 5, yes, the cue ball is not here. The cue ball is actually just behind number 6. So if this is number 6 and the cue ball is behind it, you come back to the diamond before it, which is number 5. Now, the number 5 diamond matches with the center diamond on the end rail. So we are at 5 and 5. Make a note of this shot because this shot is the starting point, so you can remember how much spin to use on all of these shots for the rest of the video. 5 and 5 equals 1 tip of running English. And in this video, our cue ball is going to be running to the right and back at the cue ball. The path of the cue ball is going to be around to the right and back. So whenever we refer to running English in this video, we're going to be speaking of right spin. So we'll put our ball back out there. We've counted up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The cue ball is not in line with the 6th diamond, so we come back to the 5th. Line up your cue stick over the 5th diamond, not where the cue ball is located on the table. You want to line it up over the 5th diamond, and you want it to go towards the 5th diamond on the end rail, and you're on that line. Now you can see that the cue is not directly over the cue ball. So we're going to parallel shift with that angle over the cue ball. Now we're over the cue ball, so now we have our angle. Now we just need to know how much spin to use. Whenever you are aiming at the end rail at diamond number 5 on any shot, you're going to use 1 tip of right English. So we're going to line up our 5th diamond to our end rail 5th diamond, parallel shift over, line up your shot. You're going to be just above center, and we know running English with the 5th diamond to the 5th diamond is going to be 1 tip of right English. So line her up, and we're going to go 1 tip to the right, and just a regular stroke, and you shoot your shot. Okay, we made our ball. Now, the object of this drill is not to necessarily make your ball. The object of this drill is to get yourself out of safeties. Okay, or if you hook yourself a way that you can possibly make the ball, in the perfect scenario you'll make it, but at least you'll be hitting the ball if you're hooked. You're not going to give up a foul ball in hand. Now, let's say that the cue ball wasn't here. Let's say that the cue ball was back here. Okay? We're going to again go through the same process. Now, when we go through the process this time, we're 1, 2, 3, 4 diamonds. Here's 5. The cue ball's behind the 5th diamond, so we're back to 4. So now we're aiming at 4 to 4. Now, what I'm going to show you right now, and you're probably going to want to write this down too if you can't remember it, is when you're at 5 and 5, you know you're at 1 tip of running English to the right. Whenever you're not shooting at the 5th diamond on the end rail, you have to use different amounts of spin. When you go this direction, you use more spin. When you go this direction, you use less spin. So, I'll take you through the spins that you need to use on the different diamonds at the end of the table. Right now, the 5 diamond is always going to be 1 tip of running English. Whether to the right or left, it's 1 tip of running English. The 4 ball will be 1 1/4. The 3 ball will be 1 1/2. The 2 ball will be 1 3/4, and the 1 ball will be 2 tips. Now I know that you can't shoot directly at the 1 ball because you'll scratch, but I'll show you that in another shot, how that works. So, now what we're going to do, from the 5, we're going to go the opposite way. The 6 ball is going to be 3/4 of a tip of English. The 7 is a 1/2 a tip, and the 8 ball is a 1/4 tip of English. All running English, this video to the right. So, we know as we count up, and when you're doing these shots, just start at your object ball and then go to your 1st diamond. We know that the 1st diamond goes to the 1 ball, that's right in the pocket. The 2nd diamond goes to the 2nd diamond on the end rail, 3rd to the 3rd, 4th to the 4th. Well, now I'm past my cue ball, so now I know when I parallel shift back, there's my exact angle. When I'm at 4 and 4, I'm aiming directly at the 4 ball. But when I parallel shift over, I'm actually aiming over here, pretty close to the center of the 4 and the 3. Even though we're at the 4th diamond, this is your starting point. We're at number 4. Parallel shift over, and we know that number 4 we just wrote down is 1 1/4 tip. So we can aim that at 1 1/4 tip to the right, running English, and a 1/2 to 1 tip above center. And just stroke the ball with a regular stroke. Okay, it went around, we made our shot. Now, I just told you that we would go over the number 1 because you can't shoot in the pocket. That makes sense. So, say our cue ball is between the 1 and the 2 diamonds away from the object ball. So we're going to count 1 diamond, 2 diamond. The 2 is in front of the cue ball, so we come back to the 1st diamond. So we aim from the 1st diamond to the 1 ball. Okay? Then we parallel shift over. Okay? Now, we're going to scratch or hit the right side of that pocket down there from where we are right here. So if I were to aim this directly where it's going right now, this is where it would go. Okay? Well, that's no good, obviously. You can still do a 2-rail kick from this spot, though. What you're going to do, you measure your distance. We're at 1 3/4, so we come back to 1. We're not at 2. 1 3/4, 1 diamond away. So we line up over the 1st diamond. We're looking at the number 1 diamond down there, which is right in the pocket. Parallel shift back. Now, here's where you make the adjustment. If we were to aim that shot right there, we'd scratch, but we'd also scratch with 2 tips of running English to the right because we're aiming at the number 1. Now, we don't want to scratch, so what we're going to do is we're just going to pivot our cue stick around and aim at the 2 instead. So we're just go to the 1 where you parallel shift it over and then just bring your cue around so you're aiming at the 2. Now, instead of 2 tips of English, because you've come back 1 diamond, you need to add a 1/2 a tip of English to your cue ball. So instead of shooting 2 tips to the right, we're going to shoot 2 tips and a 1/2. Same stroke. Okay, now, I'm pretty close. If I didn't hit the 1 ball, it would have just kissed here and it might have kissed it in. So let's just shoot it again. Line up 1 to 1, parallel shift over the center of the cue ball, bring it over to number 2, and 2 1/2 tips. And this is looking a little better. Now yes, I hit the rail first, but again, this video is just to get you into the vicinity to make contact every time. So remember, if you can't aim directly in the pocket because you'll foul, you're going to have to come back a diamond and you're going to add a half tip. Now that also applies if you get into a shot where, say we're here on the table. We are 1, 2, 3 diamonds up, and 4 is past it, so back to 3, line up 3 to 3, come back, parallel shift over the cue ball. Now, say that you had a ball in that line of travel, directly through there. Well, now you can't aim there. So, say we had a ball right here. Okay, now we can't aim there. So, again, your third diamond here, the third diamond there, parallel shift over, we're going to hit that 15 almost dead on. Same thing, just come back to the 4, right? Just shift your angle back to the 4 and add a half tip of English. So when we were aiming from the third to the third, so here's 3 and 3, parallel shift, we know that 3 is going to be a tip and a half of English, running English to the right. So tip and a half. If we shift back to the 4, we'll have to add a half tip of English, and now we're at 2 tips. And we come around, and we actually hit her dead on, which was great. Okay? Anytime you have a ball in your way on your 2 rail kicks, come back a diamond, add a half tip of English. So let's get that off the table. Now, the next shot that I will show you here, we've done some down here, we've done some up here. We could do a shot up here, but instead of just taking you through every single shot, you've written down what the spins are so you can put it wherever you want. Now, say that your cue ball is way out in the table, okay? Practice doing this at home as well if you have a home table, or at the pool hall if you can. Memorize the spots on that end rail. Don't bother memorizing these spots, because these side diamonds will change depending on where your object ball is. Because if right now we were to measure the shot, we were going to be at, okay, there's 1 to 1, there's 2 to 2, there's 3 to 3, there's 4 to 4, there's 5 to 5. Okay, 5 to 5 is way past the cue ball. Let's come back to 4 to 4. There's 4 to 4. Okay, now 4 to 4 goes right there, pretty close to the cue ball. Now let's look at 3 to 3. There's 3 to 3, and 3 to 3 is actually very close to the cue ball. So even though the cue ball is way out there in the middle of the table, your 3 to 3 is the closest to the cue ball, and you won't have to parallel shift as far. So find where you won't have to parallel shift as far and use that for calculating your shot. Okay? Now, at the same time, say your cue ball was here instead. Okay? Just say that was not there. Now, you have to measure this again. Now, this becomes your number 1 diamond, because this is 1 diamond away. So now, if this is my object ball that we want to hit, here is my 1 to 1. Here is my 2 to 2. Here is my 3 to 3. Now, that's actually right in line with the cue ball. Okay, so there's my 3 to 3. Now, if I hit that, the third diamond, now you notice that these diamonds changed. The numbers of them changed because my cue ball is no longer in the pocket. My diamond distance has changed. So in reality, this is now my third diamond. So there's my 3 to 3. I'm practically dead in line with that cue ball. And I know that my third diamond on the end means 1.5 tips of English. So let's shoot that now, and that cue ball should come around and make contact with my object ball here. So line up your 3 to 3, practically almost on the cue ball, slight parallel shift there, and shoot this with 1.5 tips. And we almost made the shot. Okay? So that works out great. The things that you want to pay attention to when doing the 2-rail kick shots are these diamonds down here. We'll take you through one time really quick again. The 5 is going to be 1 tip of running English. Whichever way the cue ball is coming off the rail, that's the running English, whether you're doing this the left or the right. The 5 is 1 tip of running, the 4 is a tip and a quarter, the 3 is a tip and a half, the 2 is a tip and 3/4, and the 1 is 2 tips. The 6 is 7/5, so a 3/4 tip, half tip, and the 8 is a 1/4 tip. Okay, all using the same stroke. Just because you're using more spin doesn't mean you have to hit harder to get more spin. Just use that nice level stroke to make these shots. So, and remember, if you have something in the way and you have to come back to the diamond before it, you add a half a tip of English like we did. The only other thing you really want to pay attention to when shooting these shots, you know the spins for the different locations there, those spins will never change. The only other thing you want to make sure you pay attention to is the diamond distance. It doesn't matter where the cue ball is. You're going to parallel shift into where the cue ball's location is on your table. So we'll do it one more time here. Just let the cue ball stop wherever. Here's my object ball. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. The 5, the 5th diamond, is ahead of the cue ball. The 4th diamond is not, and the 4th diamond away in distance. So we line up our 4 to 4, parallel shift back. Now that was a big parallel shift. Now, catch that, know that that was a long parallel shift, and then have a look at the 3. The 3 to the 3 makes more sense, and look at that, we're right next to the cue ball. So if the cue ball is not on the rail and is out in the middle of the table, you're going to have to come back and look at these diamonds. Here's the 2 to 2, here's the 3 to 3, very close, parallel shift. We know the 3 is a tip and a half, we stroke that, we make the contact. Hopefully we make the ball on a good day, we will. So use that when you're lining up these kick shots. Take your time, practice. One thing I will tell you is that you're going to find that your 2 tips or 1 tip or 2.5 tips of English is going to be a different spot on the cue ball than mine. I use a Predator 314 or a Z2 shaft, which is 11.75 mil tip. Currently on this shaft I'm using an Everest tip, and it will hit different than your tip. It will grip the cue ball different than your tip. If you're not holding your cue level to the table and you have an angle down, you're going to have a little bit of squirt on your cue ball and you're not going to get the reaction. Make sure you use the same stroke, just make sure that you're hitting the cue ball in the proper destination. If you have any questions with this, please send me a message on the YouTube there. And I have opened up an online billiard store. Please have a look at that. If there's something that you don't see there, or if there's something that you would like to see, please give me a call. I definitely would like your input, and let me know if you'd like to see any other videos, guys. My website's on the bottom of the screen there, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Thanks, guys.